Students of Reddit, what was your school's big scandal? Had a high school math teacher got a DUI on a tractor and was fired. P and CS teacher had an affair while both were married to other people. They eventually both divorced and ended up marrying each other. Accounting teacher married a student about a week after she graduated. Rumor was that they were already sleeping together when she was 16 and she was pregnant before graduation as well by the teacher. A couple bomb threats. The summer after I graduated, the principal was caught propositioning underage teenage male prostitutes. Underage teenage male prostitutes. I'm sorry, what? He liked to have sex with boys under the age of 18. He was caught trying to buy it. But I understand he was not above looking for it closer to home. That is, within the high school he was a principal of. My history teacher blackmailed the girls who weren't doing so good on his class. He exchanged good grades for nudes. How did everyone find out? I don't know the exact facts. But the official story is a student was using his girlfriend's phone and found the chat with the teacher. Then he took it to the school administration and shit hit the fan. At the end of my senior year, we had bomb threats about 2 to 3 times a week. One of them was written in lipstick on the mirror of one of the girls' bathrooms. It said, "Bomb banana." It was so ridiculous. Shit like this had us standing out in a grass field for hours while the police checked the building. Were they trying to say me up? Lol. Ha 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 ha, yes. That's what made it so ridiculous. Turns out my geography teacher was a pedophile with several thousand accounts of child pornography on the computer. How did they find him out? Our class had been told he was ill and we were quite sympathetic until half a year later when it was in the local news. The school tried to hide it but failed. In middle school the athletics director was caught putting cameras in the girls' locker room this year. Our female PE teacher in 6th grade was caught touching the girls. Then, a male high school PE teacher and wrestling coach got busted for porn and touching kids, and set himself on fire in his home. I was in the showers are no longer mandatory and please wear swim trunks in the pool generation. Either kid I could tell something was wrong with both of them. And now looking back, I wonder how many social cues I missed. Like if I was an unaware daydreaming kid and still felt weirded out. What would have registered as an adult? Or one of the kids' parents. Even hearing stories about the female PE teacher always had me thinking, other adults don't do these things, why does she? Nobody who would ever harm a kid would walk into a private room full of naked kids, right? Jesus, and not just that. 2 scout leaders, 2 priests, 2 doctors and a cop. And however many clergy the church was covering up for. And for such a small town, all of us were so close together and everyone around us were fucking monsters. I'm pretty sure my high school English teacher had serious relationships with at least 5 girls. From junior to senior year. And that's just who I knew. I can't imagine however many others I never heard about. Like, locked door lunches type deal. Someone burned down one of our buildings. Oh, I forgot all about the student crime. In middle school a kid broke in one night to the building with the library. He piled up a bunch of books and set them on fire. Plus he stole some stuff. One of the things he stole was a t-shirt from a fundraiser display. He got busted because he wore the shirt, a shirt no one else would have. And he piled up a bunch of books and set them on fire. Maybe his English teacher made him read Fahrenheit 451 and it inspired him in the wrong way. This actually came out during my last semester there, but it had been happening for years. One of the English teachers had been having sex with a few select students every year. Most were football players. It got really weird. When I had her class, it wouldn't be out of place if a student from another class asked to go to the bathroom and just went to her room to see her. One day some kid brought her a drink from McDonald's because he was late to school and got breakfast. It only came out because there was this one girl who was in an argument with her for some reason, and said something along the lines of, "That's why you fuck your students." And the whole incident got brought up to the office and they interviewed everyone. Found out she'd had sex with multiple students for the past few years. Edit. I've been getting a lot of comments asking if this was in ______. All I'll say is that it was in Georgia. A bunch of seniors were having a graduation party in the woods. One of them passed out drunk, rolled into a 6-inch deep culvert and drowned. They didn't notice he died until morning. Edit. From the comments, fucking hell, just how common is this sort of thing? As someone who had to clear his friend's throat of vomit while he was slowly succumbing to alcohol poisoning and then taking a call from his mother the next morning while he was in the hospital recovering. Let me tell ya, that shit will make you grow up fast. I found my dad the morning he had a heart attack. Something kind of snapped in me. And while I was on the phone with the 911 dispatch, I was like a machine giving him CPR. Vomit. Tons of vomit is what I remember the most. But there was also the sound of his sternum and ribs breaking, scooping the vomit out of his mouth. The slow realization that he wasn't coming back. Let me tell you, that shit made me grow up like nothing else. I'm sorry you had to go through that with your friend. I don't wish that trauma on anybody. A string of deaths 3 years in a row was finally broken when some guy jumped out a 2-story building but lived. Every year in my school one student would die. Freshman year, we had a guy commit suicide because of bullying. Sophomore year a girl gets hit by a car. And junior year, a guy gets a heart attack at 17. Senior year was the only year I heard of with no deaths. My college had a suicide problem of sorts. One of the ways they dealt with this was requiring all freshmen to take physical activity 101 seconds, which is like gym class except the coach doesn't actually care what you do as long as it's not studying. Basically, force these damn nerds to walk around for a bit and speak to another human twice a week. We had a senior, male student in my high school who knocked up a freshman and the Spanish teacher within like a week of each other. Dios, you mean, Dios mia. It was in 2007, but my high school had a string of bomb threats. There was a bathroom where no cameras could see who went in or out. And someone wrote in Sharpie across one of the stall doors, "There's a bomb in the school," with that day's date. The school was evacuated, and we all went home. For the next few months, there was a bomb threat seemingly every Friday. We'd be in the middle of the first or second period, then we'd all go home. After we missed enough days, we all had to come in on several Saturdays, and the bomb threat stopped. We also had a bunch of bomb threats around the same time, but they caught the guy doing it. I guess he had a couple of tests he didn't want to do, so he used the bomb threats to force an evacuation to get extra time. The school held a special assembly just for the sole purpose of making him apologize in front of the whole school. He cried the entire time. When I was in high school, someone left a spoiled milk jug in the hallway, and since it was bloated or something, they treated it as a bomb threat and evacuated the building for the rest of the day. It was forever known as the milk jug bomb incident. Teacher sent nudes to a kid because the kid pretended to be a different person on a dating website. Teacher, kid was expelled. This was 10 years ago, my first day of high school. I get home after school and my mom is watching the news. A senior killed his social worker with a chainsaw and then stabbed his mom a couple times. After that he went for a walk and listened to music. They caught him all bloody and everything. Another article unfound on it. Jesus Christ. I'm shocked at how much detail that article went into and how long that must have gone on. That poor social worker must have been so terrified. Chemistry teacher spilled mercury in the lab at my high school. She tried to clean it up herself, which only further contaminated the lab and didn't tell anyone. about the spill. She was arrested and it cost the school $60K to have it cleaned up. Don't know what happened regarding her charges. Happened at my school too. Another kid and I had to clean the chemistry lab for detention in 7th grade. He spilled about a cup of mercury on the floor. Science teacher made us clean it up by scooping it up with index cards. This was in the late 80s, never reported and absolutely no one gave a shit. Completely different time map. We used to dump it out and push the droplets around on the desks. Chem teacher just told us not to eat it. My high school did block lunch where everyone ate lunch at the same time instead of separating them into A, B, C lunches. Because our cafeteria couldn't fit the entire student body, it was normal for kids to be eating in the hallway, on the floor, or at tables all throughout the school. One day during lunch, unbeknownst to the staff and student body, our rep decided to hold a lockdown drill. He got on the intercom and told everyone there was an active shooter in the cafeteria in order to see how kids would react had it been a real shooting. Turned into pure anarchy, kids calling 911, running out of school and not returning to class after the drill was over, kids having anxiety attacks while hiding in classrooms, dying calls from students to parents. It was pretty bad. Should I mention how this was 2 days after the Parkland shooting? Edit.